it's important to breathe. So you gotta breathe. When you're gonna create something, you wanna breathe. You wanna breathe like a pregnant lady carrying shops up the steps. Because we're gonna, it's like birth. We're gonna create art, and it's like when a lady summons all of her fluids and creates a little baby out of that. It's like that. Will you eat the afterbirth, Aaron? Will you eat the afterbirth? Afterbirth? It comes out, and it's like protein, but it's not. And everyone says they're gonna eat it, but they don't. Because it kind of looks fucking horrifying. It looks like that shit that moves out of the way when the facehugger's trying to get after the first bit of alien. Before it made sweet consensual love to John Hurt's face. Which I am told he enjoyed.
I imagine so.
Yeah, that was, I think, HR Giga said that he quite enjoyed it and would ask for him to repeat that act during non-filmed sections.
Of course.
Obviously.
Many porn sites. Alright, so... Are we still drawing Pokemon? You still want to draw Pokemon?
Yeah, I don't care.
Today we're gonna...
I don't care what my art looks like. It's pure and it's raw. It's raw.
I want you to draw something called Xerneas.
Xerneas or Xerneas?
Xerneas. Starts with an X.
Xerneas. Oh, it starts with an X.
Yes.
Oh, well, that's completely.
Would you like the spelling
of this? Yes.
Okay, Xerneas. Xerneas.
Xerneas. Okay, so it's good that we were just discussing, because Xern is from the Latin root Xernoplex, which means frothy. And I know that from my degree. That's true. That's a 100% true historical linguo fact. A linguo historia.
There you go, guys. You've learned something
today.
Linguo
historia fact. Frothy, you see. So it's, this is one of the evolved forms, because initially it's just a little milkshake, because I know milkshake Pokemon exists, because it's Pokemon, and they come up with those ideas just by looking at things around them.
There is an ice cream cone, so...
And so he's like one of those milkshake makers you get the, what are those? Where are we? How do I undo that? That's right, because it's this art is like a wizard. It detects things. And see, I'm not actually touching it there, but you'll notice it registers it. And then I touch it, and then I get a little thing. So... I'm gonna get myself down here, and we're gonna... It starts out like this. And he's kind of like a Breville, you see, and except, and down the middle here, you have that little bit that comes through. It's a stand. It allows Xerneas, the creator of the froth of violence and war, one of the original sort of Roman interaction parts of the Greek pantheon. Etruscan, I think. And they were all pedophiles. The Etruscans just molested kids constantly. That's a historical fact, too. They're just like an entire... imagine if an entire culture was Jimmy Savile. That's essentially the Etruscans. You could just bugger a kid on your doorstep. And people were like, Tuesday. Except it wasn't called Tuesday back then, it was called Kid Buggery's Day, because that was the deity that they worshipped. Because Tuesday is named after the Norse god Tews, god of sharp, violent, loud sounds at night. And this is part of a rich and complete education. So he's kind of silver there, so you want to get a little bit of silver in, because there's highlights. People like this kind of stuff when they buy their high-end kitchenware / Pokemon. It needs to look the part. You have an image in your head when you're an advertiser of what kind of lifestyle you want people to have. And first of all, no homos, because that's just where there's no money there.
No. Right.
And then, you kind of just come up with milkshakes out of that basic premise. All milkshakes came from a very homophobic place. That's why they're very problematic. Little known fact. That's the next big thing, is you gotta make your milkshakes work. That's important.
But do your milkshakes bring all the boys to the yard?
No. Because that's sexist. They bring them to the Shrieking Coon Center for Racial Sensitivity. And they teach them about various topics, like melanin and rightness. He's got a funny little nose in the middle there, which is kind of peculiar, because I don't think he smells anything. No. I think he can only smell chocolate and blood, because he is a being of pure carnage.
He looks like it.
Yeah, just harsh. He's from the Great Pokemon Wars. Originally, his use was outlawed by the Hague. It was used to basically to torture people. I mean, you ever see one of those milkshake makers?
Yeah.
Imagine that jammed down your urethra.
Yeah, no.
Like, you're just
that's
gonna,
pain.
you're gonna have a chat basically after that. You'd be content to talk. I'd tell people all sorts of stuff. I'd tell people horrible secrets, things I haven't even done, just to make it stop. Really, I mean, by that point, you just, pull to a conclusion. And so he's kind of got these little apparati here. With arms is the technical term.
Right.
If you want to get finicky. I mean, I wouldn't. On account of that being sort of off-putting to the masses. You don't want to drive away the sub-ignorant fucking scum by using big words. Like, because that kind of locks art up in a place where their stupid pig brains can't get to it. And you don't want to do that. That's inherently prejudiced.
Speaking of big complicated words, subterfuge. Yeah. I heard that on a children's show today.
Oh, that's pretty good. Which children's show?
Lala Loopsy.
I don't know what that is. I thought you were going to say Captain Planet. And now I have been reminded starkly of the fact that I'm aging. And this upsets me greatly.
Captain Planet. There was a Captain Planet game on the original Nintendo.
Was there?
It was awful.
Yeah. Huh.
I can't remember if it was
I made time just go backward. I'm a Time Lord now, and I don't need any of this bullshit. I'm gonna teleport to your house.
Does he have a walking stick?
Oh, there is blenders.
Ah.
You see, these are just pure evil. Like, you shouldn't.
Pure evil blenders?
Yeah, you shouldn't have these. Like, nothing needs to be this mixed. What are you doing? You're just showing off. You're fucking full of shit. You're making things up, and you got these fucking blenders, and I think one of them's in Pikachu's head. Because it's a battle Pokemon. Like, there's none of this.
Doesn't play around.
No. It's
down to business.
It was one of those episodes that was only shown in Japan. Because, just on account of the endless fucking blood. Like, I like violence, but even for this, the Japanese were going a little bit odd. It gets strange that way, just have to enjoy it. And, there's Pikachu's horrible little slope eyes. And, his brains are fucked at this point. So basically, this was a very special episode where Ash had to look after a severely retarded Pikachu. And it was actually, it was
shitting itself.
Yeah, it Pika-poo, like it'd just take a dump, and the dump was electric, so you couldn't get rid of it. It just sort of sat there. So Ash was kind of dealing with, and it's a metaphor for the aging population of Japan, is Ash trying to walk around his house and keep it clean while there are these untouchable electric thunder dumps just fucking everywhere. And like Misty fell over in one, and she decided to stop talking to Ash, and turned to drugs and prostitution in the end. But that was that was a different episode, really altogether. That wasn't I believe that was changed. I think one of the movies retconned it, which is a very unpopular decision amongst the real Pokemon fans.
Oh yeah.
A lot of people, like Fairweather fans, they'll talk about how they have like a favorite. Who fucking cares? I don't fucking care what your favorite is. You ask any idiot what their favorite stooge is, and they'll say Beavis. And it's like, I know you're fake. Everyone says that. It's like, that's the most obvious fucking one. So you're full of shit. You're gonna say that your favorite Pokemon is like Pikachu or whatever, or one of the ones that's like a sack of doorknobs that kind of screams stuff about the Jews occasionally.
Poliwrath, cause Muscle Toad.
Yeah, that's not real. I don't think anybody really actually likes Poliwrath.
I do.
No, you don't. I think that's
I like the simple ones, like Poliwrath,
stroke.
and I like Kingler because it's a giant fucking crab. That's it.
It's a furious crab.
It's a furious crab.
And we got some trees and stuff in the background because it lives in a forest, rather paradoxically. They're its hunting grounds. This is why you don't see too many Farfetch'd. They're all kind of gone these days. Like the Farfetch'd are gone. What's that other retarded thing? Golduck. Golduck's pretty much fucking dead. And so, you got Pikachu here being rendered like a blob of little, like, retardo jelly. And, you know, for all his meanness, you know, he's got some crimson red eyes. He has this funny little extra smile mouth. Goes here. Because he enjoys what he's doing. Yeah. It actually gives him not exactly the same, but something akin to sexual pleasure to just violently blend the brains of other Pokemon. This is the evolved form again. Like the standard, like the starter version of this doesn't have these sorts of bells and whistles. You know, that would be cheating. And you know, you want balance in the Pokemon games.
Oh, of course.
And you know, even though it looks like this thing, it kind of has like these spidery legs as well. Because that's how it maintains its mobility. You can't just run around on a stand.
No,
it's called a stand, not like a run. Otherwise, it's called a run. And these words have meanings for a reason. And that's the important factor here. Is this will come stalking out of the forest after it's fed on like a Farfetch'd, which they're really good with rosemary actually. I mean, there's the strange, like you'd think to leak.
Its own leak.
Yeah, like that's the funny part. Like it just, I think it does that deliberately. I think that's how that evolved. Like if you're worried about being eaten, why carry a pasty dressing?
It's true.
That's why I always have eggs in my pocket. It prevents me from getting consumed by any of the strange nightmarish creatures that wander around Brisbane at night. Which is why we don't have as big an elderly problem as we used to. They used to be everywhere. They're like pigeons. They're all sort of dead. I think this is Ash. You know, he's got his hat that's red because that's his personality. You know, he's sort of here. He's Jufro. And he's like dirty yellow Asian skin. And he's just banging his fists on the ground, and he's on his knees, and he's seeing this happen, and there's nothing you can do about it.
No,
because you can't get involved once they start fighting, and he's crying, just pointless little tears into a pool. It spells out tears, because that's how we make art.
Art is fueled by tears.
Yeah, and that's, you know. This, like I said, this was, you can only get a bootleg these days. Even in the days of the internet, it's very hard to find this episode. I think it wasn't the first season. It wasn't the Johto one or whatever, one of the later ones. It was in there. It's like the episode with the digital one, the Porygon episode.
Right.
Like, you can't get that anywhere, because that made the kids with the vision things flip out. Yeah, it gave them the diabetes. And then they had to get rid of that. And this episode made children just think they're John Goodman. It's a heretofore unknown childhood malady, which is getting diagnosed more these days, which is very good. Because it's really hard to teach an entire class of children who think they're John Goodman.
I'd imagine
they're already quite accomplished character actors, all of them. So they don't have a lot of reason, really motivation to listen to you. And, you know, they kind of do have a few basic, you know, John Goodman's literate. So there's not really a lot to do. So that's a hard, you know, and it's hard to treat that particular disease. It doesn't have a name yet. We're going to go with John Goodman syndrome, but that's actually already a thing. Which...
Is it?
Yeah. Yeah. So, that's him. This would be more of this is kind of like a diorama. You know, this is a scene. A tableau. Is what you'd call it in the art community.
Right.
And, you know, it's a thematic representation that I think deals with a lot of the core issues of the episode. Like, senile old Japanese people falling down in the street and defecating. Which, happens once every year like clockwork. It's part of I think it's Buddhist or something. Something about trees. I don't know. They all poop near the trees, but then they stopped doing that because there are no trees in Japan anymore.
So where do they poop now?
Oh, this is
everywhere? Straight?
Yeah.
That's what that Pokemon Go, like the VR thing, is actually about. It's about catching old Japanese men's shit.
It needs to be swept up somehow. And this is, you know, you gotta get the kids into that early. Because if you can teach a kid that picking up poo is fun, then they'll just keep doing it.
Alright, so are we gonna look at what Xerneas looks like in the eyes of Nintendo now?
I mean, you know, there's lots of different potential interpretations. I think we've established that Nintendo has its style, which, and I don't want to call my style the style, but I think that's something that will be borne out by public opinion. Like, people, I think, will just naturally gravitate to my representations because I think they actually sort of connect at a deeper level to what the show was really talking about and the nature of the gameplay itself. It integrates a lot of things. There are, combinations of different critical templates. You see, it's practically the same. I mean, you can see, kind of the way that would mix, a beverage and get it to a frothy state is fairly heavily implied. And I think that really, I have seen, at Market Day and stuff, people have got blenders that look like that. So I think, in a lot of ways I was kind of ahead of the curve here, but also on the curve at the same time. So I was surfing the curve. So I'm like the bleeding edge. I'm like the intersection of razor and skin, and the sweet blood of milky creativity comes sloshing out, much like the Xerneas froth.
So that is Xerneas.
That is.
From the Artist Studio.
That is exactly...
Please tell us in the comments below why Nintendo was wrong and this should be instated in all the new games.
Show them this, and it's really I'm getting a bit sick of dealing with this, to be honest. Nintendo.
Agreed.